This is on Steeple Point, and this will be the view of the entrance, walkway entrance. We have a loop room, and this is our courtyard. It's about a 30,000 square foot little garden area that all the units overlook. In the center, we have a chimney garden area. Couldn't hear you, sir.
Sorry. Could you cycle back to the front of the unit from the garden, from the courtyard?
Yes, sir. southeastern, yes, sir, southeastern.
Based on what I'm seeing. You're not depicting trees or the plant materials in front of this wall, or this perspective?
Yeah, as we go around the wall, yes, sir, we'll.
So, we're standing basically on a residential lot, or, or is that?
Is that backing up the lots of 40? The fourth lot in the southeast corner, fourth and fifth lot. Is that our perspective? I'm sorry, this is so very small. I noticed the fourth lot due southeast on the site plan.
I think it's gonna be right here at the corner of, what's that, Willowbrook and the lots that are on Everton Place right there is those two come together back in the very southeastern corner of the.
Very southeast, and I'm seeing plants and trees in that corner that currently are there.
I think
What is your topo?
we're not quite to that as the video goes around here for just a couple
Would
of.
it be accurate to say that it's in this general area right here, southeast, or further,
Maybe a little bit more due south.
more to your west?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
And it's a
So
video.
can you, back up a little bit?
Yeah,
So we'll be moving towards the, can you back up a little bit?
Are these 1 or 2 foot contours on this site plan?
Sir?
On the landscape site plan, are these 1 or 2 foot contour lines?
On those.
974,
2
7,
foot.
so it's got 2 foot contours.
Yes, sir.
So you have about 10 foot of fall in between the base of the wall, I'm assuming, which
Yes.
is very things.
So we're moving towards the southeast now, right?
Yes, sir, we're coming around from the southern, and the video goes all the way back around to
Southwest, and we're moving.
all the way around the northern boundary.
So can you go back to the corner, to the southwest corner and cycle through that again?
That's really good. So it's fine.
So how tall is the wall at that, right, could you pause it right there?
That's the top of the wall elevation.
Well, at the tallest point, which is on the other side, it's right approximately 30, I believe.
And, what is the proposed material for this wall?
Modular block, I'm sorry. Modular block.
Is this wall actually slightly sloped?
Yes.
And you still have additional property though, it looks like you have another like 30 feet or so to the property line, right?
Yes, sir.
So couldn't this whole edge be a combination of retaining wall and berms, almost terracing the retaining wall so that there's a certain height of wall planting and then an additional height to mitigate just the sheer mass of the wall?
Well,
I mean, if you go to Eastern Europe, there's beautiful walls that are 68 feet tall, and they're beautiful. You have terrace, you have piers or buttresses, and there's stuff growing on. This right now looks more like a shopping center wall.
well, one thing we try to do is, come in with vegetation and planting and different things like that.
Right,
For
but
vegetative screen.
somebody's gonna have to live with this wall for 8 years, 7 years, at least until the vegetation grows.
When they keep 30-foot wall, these kinds of vegetation take a very long time to cover that.
Well, my concern there is they are, I presume that there's homes that are gonna be looking at this, even though there's a buffer. It's a fairly substantial
are concerned, and as much as they are allowed in our charge here this evening, is to confirm whether it reaches the design guidelines, both from site, landscape, and architecturally, right there, from a visual and aesthetics. The first challenge that I'm hearing here is that we have a 30-foot wall. As a landscape architect, I'm aware that there's numerous ways to offset these walls, even to that if you had 10-foot terraces, you would come further on down and create where it's not so monolithic. There's also more residential quality walls, and I'm not sure the specs on this particular wall as of yet, right here, but there's ones that emulate stone that are more residential quality with 6 inches in jumpers. I know they don't engineer to 30 feet. I'm aware of what it takes to engineer a wall to 30 feet, and I suggest that to have residential quality walls in this area that are terraced within this boundary zone. How much property do you have between the existing wall and the property line right now?
It varies from, I believe the zoning allows for, 5-foot buffers, but, anywhere from, was that 10 feet?
This was not recent, Jackie, was this recently rezoned? This is current zoning,
This is current zoning
Fulton County?
under Fulton County from 1972.
Okay.
There's a pod that was left over, has not been developed. So, those are the zoning is based on what was done back then. So any architectural related to this wall, you can address wholeheartedly.
Okay. I'm questioning whether there was any stipulations of zoning as far as buffers are required,
That's-
buffers, no disturbance.
20 to 50 feet is from our boundary line.
So you're at your closest point to the adjacent property, because it looks like the adjunct properties, you touch 11 residentials around this parcel, is that correct? You touch 11 other homes,
Yes, sir.
adjunct. Yeah, the first issue is that, there's some other issues. I agree with Roberta. As we're here, this is an initial this evening. The architecture is a nice piece of work. I changed some things on the steeplechase. It feels a little bit, the prominence, the art feels a little bit pretentious and not appropriate for the streetscape along there. I like to think about what's not just for that, but what's the adjacencies? What's the adjacencies? What would you see coming down that road? And that's not a normalcy to see this large arch stone. The promise, the architecture, I think it's moving in the right direction. I think the site plan obviously needs to be sensitive to the adjunct properties aesthetically, and that would suggest not a 30-foot monolithic 12-inch engineered block wall. That would suggest something that's terracing in the 10 to 12-foot ranges. I recognize that by moving further down the slope, it's only going to require.
Well, right now, we're approved for 32 units, and, because of the situation of the site, we've stepped it back to 22.
Have you maxed to 32?
Sir?
Oh, you got 32?
No, we're 22 units, primary units, and then,
Concept plan shall not exceed 32.
well, that was just, that's what our approved density is.
Well, I guess